The main character Yusuke can be seen fighting a horde of demons and saying this new place is 1,000,000 times better than Tokyo. Flashback to the past. Yusuke is an antisocial high schooler who'd rather die than mingle with society. One of his classmates is a popular girl named Shindo. Shindo is sporty, pretty, and seemingly perfect. Even Yusuke thinks so as he stalks her online. One day he sees Shindo talking to a shy and physically weak girl named Kasue. Since Shindo and Kasue are very different, Yusuke thinks that it's weird to see them talking. Suddenly the two girls disappear and weird markings appear on the board. Then the whole place starts glowing, and Yusuke gets transported to the sky. He falls into a strange place where strange monsters come after him, so he swims to safety and runs into Shindo and Kasue. They already seem to know about this place and they tell him to be careful of a man with only half a face. Suddenly a strange person with only half a face arrives, calling himself the Game Master. The Game Master gives them a quest to fulfill the village chief's request. They have to complete 8 quests like this, and each time they do so, they will get a new party member. Shindo is already a wind-style wizard while Kasue is a sword warrior. Now it's Yusuke's turn, and what does he get? The great profession of farmer. Then the Game Master leaves. Shindo and Kasue are utterly disappointed at what Yusuke got. Then Shindo explains everything. She was brought here first and completed a task. Then she was sent back to their real life by the Game Master who told her to make friends with Kasue. Then they completed a task and were sent back. This time with instructions to be alone with Yusuke. That's how he also got here. Shindo shows him how to use his inventory and they find out that his only weapons are a hoe and sickle. Next, Shindo shows him a log point where previous scenes and moments are stored. Suddenly some goblins approach. Yusuke rushes at them with his sickle and the goblin just breaks it. Shindo will do something. No, her level is so low that she can only move the air a little bit, and Kasue does not know how to fight. Yusuke tries to pick up her sword but it's no use as the weapon is not assigned to him. The goblin then smashes his head and he dies. But he comes back to life after 30 seconds, so he starts attacking the goblins little by little no matter how many times he dies. And they finally defeat the goblins. But Shindo tells him that at least one of them must stay alive for the resurrection to work. If all 3 die at the same time, then they die in real life. That night they're camping when suddenly they're attacked by a giant troll. Shindo is eaten and Kasue is injured, so Yusuke takes Kasue and runs. The next day, Kasue's left arm does not come back as it was eaten, meaning Shindo probably won't revive. They decide to avoid the troll and go to the village. There, the village chief tells him to kill that same troll to complete the quest. Since the troll is way too powerful and Kasue is quite useless, Yusuke decides to increase his level. He fights some goblins while thinking about his childhood. For some reason, it makes him really angry, but he does rise up to rank 9. Suddenly he gets a notice that Kasue is dead. He turns around and the village is on fire. Yusuke runs back to the village, but even after 30 seconds, Kasue does not respawn, meaning she must have been eaten too. The village is also empty. He sees a log point and touches it. He gets Kasue's memories. She's talking to a village kid about how she's physically weak in her world, so she was always a burden to her parents. Even in this world, she thinks she's a burden to Yusuke and Shindo. When the troll came, she saved the village kid before being eaten. Yusuke realizes that he has only been thinking about himself and not about other people's problems. Then the troll comes and knocks him into the air. He thinks about his childhood friends and how they promised to dig up their time capsule after high school. The troll comes after him and he runs into the forest. He realizes that the troll can only jump like a frog, so he avoids being caught by constantly changing directions, but the troll almost catches him. Luckily, a goblin appears and he quickly stabs him, rising to rank 10. Time stops and the Game Master appears, congratulating him. He gets the roulette for another profession. This time, he gets the powerful job of a chef. The physical stats are low, but at least he got a knife. He also gets the ability to see internal organs. Using these new level ups, he slices the troll's stomach as it falls down. Immediately after, Kasue and Shindo respawn. They work together to defeat the troll, but its skin is way too hard for them, so they die several times. Then, Yusuke runs into its wound and stabs it from the inside. This really injures the troll and it stops moving. Then Shindo sends a lot of air into its head, exploding it from the inside. The Game Master comes and congratulates them on completing the task. They all get level ups. He also allows Yusuke to ask him one question. When Shindo completed her task, she asked why she was brought here. Game Master said that someone she knows brought her. When Kasue completed her task, she asked who the Game Master is, and he said that he was from the future. So for the question, Yusuke asks what will happen after they complete all their tasks. Suddenly, they all get a vision of giant monsters appearing in their town. They wake up back in their classroom. The time has not passed at all. Shindo tells him that the next quest will probably be in a few weeks. Yusuke realizes that if he just abandons the quest, then this city that he hates so much will be destroyed. Meanwhile, Shindo admits that she's never interacted with a person like Yusuke, someone who's so mysterious. Elsewhere, the Game Master calls Yusuke on his phone and tells him to hit on a girl from another school. On top of that, he has to go at night. He finds the girl's bathroom with its lights on. Inside, 3 girls seem to be bullying a girl, Yuka. By taking off her clothes and about to take her pictures, the game master tells him to flirt with Yuka, so Yusuke takes the bully's phone and breaks it. Actually, he breaks all their phones. He is glad that he saved Yuka from the bullies. Yuka is also thankful, but she's a little creeped out by the way he dealt with them and broke their phones, so she runs away. Sometime later, the new other adventure begins again. The game master comes, scares her, and she gets the title of Fire Wizard. He also extends the respawn time from 30 seconds to 40 seconds and gives them a new task: to deliver some things to a place called Rado Borbo within 40 days and to discover 5% of the total area. Then Yuka gets scared of Yusuke, thinking that he's a pervert who abducted her into this world, so Shindo takes her to the side and explains everything. Since Shindo has been here the longest, Yuka thinks that she's the strongest of the group. Suddenly, they're attacked by a giant centipede that throws little bugs, killing Yusuke and Shindo instantly. Yuka is excited because she's a gamer who has always wanted to be in a magic world, but her level 1 magic isn't enough to even heat coffee. So Yusuke respawns and takes matters into his own hands, grabbing the flying bugs and killing them one by one. Then he goes on top of the centipede and cuts off all its legs. They still have to finish it off, so Yusuke takes Kasue by the hand and uses his strength and her sword to kill the centipede. Suddenly, Shindo thinks back to her past. She was a bad kid and always got into trouble, but a kind woman named Sayuri always treated her nicely. However, one day, she jumped from her building and died. Turns out Sayuri was also excessively bullied and she had no one to talk to about it. Also, Shindo's father is a member of the local biker gang, meaning she was treated badly by her teachers, but her friends always came to support her. She came to value the importance of her friends and always did her best to be a good person. She does not want to die in this world and lose everything, so she begs Yusuke to use all his strength to get them through this world. Kasue and Yuka also overhear everything. Later, they go to the village, but many years have already passed here as time moves differently in this world. A previous villager tells them that their destination, Rado Borbo, is on the other side of the continent and will take 30 days by horse and 90 days by walking. They're supposed to complete the task in 40 days. He tells them to go to the martial arts tournament nearby, which will give them an award of 3 horses. But suddenly, they're attacked by some bandits. Yusuke fights back, but he gets negative experience for hurting humans, so they all run away. However, Shindo gets captured. But Yusuke says that the safety of individual members is irrelevant because even if one person completes the quest, then they all get to go home. Yuka is disgusted and goes with Kasue to save Shindo, while Yusuke goes to the martial arts tournament. But the 2 girls are easily captured, so there's that. Yusuke defeats some goblins and goes through another level up. This time, he gets the class of creature wizard, allowing him to alter human biology. He can also make his words more persuasive. Then he goes to fight in the tournament but gets killed in 5 seconds. The knight who defeats him is Cavale. He asks Cavale if he can borrow her horses in exchange for helping her. So she takes him to her superior and he shows him the base of the bandits in exchange for 1 horse. They attack at dawn, taking the bandits by surprise. So the bandits release a dangerous berserker. Even Cavale, their best knight, is of no match. So Yusuke uses his persuasive powers and tells the berserker to look behind. Then he stabs the berserker and Cavale slices its head off. Once they rescue the rest of the girls, Cavale offers to give them her carriage and even escort them all the way to Rado Borbo. In exchange, they must train sword fighting with her. They start their journey, but Kasue is still haunted by the sight of the dead bandits and how they were killed. She's sad that she wants to protect her friends, but she can't even protect herself. Cavale trains her every day, but she still struggles with fighting. One day, they fight some goblins, and Kasue accidentally kills one of them, her first kill. That experience traumatizes her, but she's determined to go back and fulfill her dream of being a doctor who can cure her own sickness. On their way, they see some soldiers and civilians being attacked by monsters. Kasue decides to go out there and help them no matter what. So Yusuke comes with her while sending the rest on the way to save time. However, they are killed quite easily, while only one of the monsters is killed. Kasue starts wondering why she's even here, thinking that she's so useless. So she attracts one of the monsters. When it rushes at her, she summons her longsword and the monster gets stabbed. As for the last one, Cavale comes and kills it. They heal the civilians, and the soldiers say that the civilians are actually heretics of a different religion, and they are taking them to Rado Borbo to execute them in public. The heroes are shocked, because these heretics might be the goods needed to deliver to Rado Borbo that the game master was talking about. But if they take them there, then the civilians will be executed, including the child. They wonder if the game master is putting them to a test. Cavale immediately gets into a fight with the leader of the soldiers, Camilto, because they're from different countries. Yuka suggests that they take the civilians all the way to Rado Borbo and then free them when they get there. That night, the heretic man says that in their kingdom, some people worship the king, and some worship God. These 2 groups never agreed with each other. One day, some of these god worshippers destroyed the king's statues, and that began the persecution of the god worshippers. Then they talk to Camilto, who talks about how their kingdom was in decline, but their king brought comfort and prosperity to all the citizens, no matter how rich or poor. The god worshippers would change that, so they must be stopped. That's what he believes. But Yuka sees that Kamilto's kingdom is just a bully that preys on smaller kingdoms. They get into a fight and things get heated. Finally, they reach the mountains, which will take a long time to pass. So Kamilto suggests an alternate route. They enter the cave with its ancient mechanisms, but Kamilto traps them inside, saying that he cannot risk losing his prisoners. Cavale is eager to kill Kamilto and save the heretics, so the heroes decide to go forward, solving many puzzles on the way. But in one of the puzzles, Yusuke is knocked down into a pit. Shindo and the others count the seconds and manage to get across through, and Yusuke tells them to go ahead. The heroes reach a chamber where they come across a gargoyle, a man-made monster, and it looks pretty damn powerful. Meanwhile, Yusuke is cutting holes into the wall to climb up. Despite dying several times, he keeps trying. While climbing, he thinks about 6 years back when he transferred to his current high school. He had always been neglected by his classmates, and no one wanted to be friends with him. Currently, Yusuke climbs the wall through sheer determination while laughing at the game master. He reaches a log point and finds out that Cavale's loyal warrior has been killed. He thinks about their journey, working together side by side. Meanwhile, the rest of the heroes kill some vampire bats and prepare to fight the gargoyle. They see a key in the gargoyle's arm, but it easily stabs Cavale, who has been their best warrior until now. Cavale falls off the platform, then the gargoyle turns to the rest of them. Shindo steps back and accidentally steps in a vampire bat, reaching rank 10. When that happens, time stops. The game master offers her a chance to change professions. She gets the warrior job and quickly hits the gargoyle, but its body's too tough. She sees a wound that Cavale gave the gargoyle and remembers her lesson in how to hit the heart. She ends up losing her arm but still manages to stab it from the top, and it finally dies. Yusuke arrives just then. When he finds out that Cavale fell into the water, he jumps in without hesitation. He pulls her out. Then he uses his creature wizard skills to consume monster blood and heal her. Cavale finally wakes up and her soldier, Makuwa, tells her how Yusuke saved him. Yusuke's sleeping next to her, so she steals a kiss from him. The other girls see this, but no questions are asked. That night, Yusuke wakes up with a realization. In the previous quest, the game master did not mention a specific village. They just went to the nearest village and completed the task. In Shindo and Kasue's turns as well, no specifications were given. It was open-ended. Meaning, in this particular quest, the goods that they must transport could probably mean anything. The heretics from before may or may not be the goods. So he suggests splitting up into 2 teams. One will go after Kamilto and his soldiers and save the heretics, while the other team will look for other possible goods. And they have 7 days left until the deadline runs out. Shindo, Kasue, and Makuwa go to look for other possible goods as Team A, while Team B, consisting of Yusuke, Yuka, and Cavale, go after the soldiers. Team B considers ambushing Kamilto, but if that happens, then Kamilto's kingdom might invade Cavale's kingdom because it's a ruthless military nation, so Yusuke comes up with an evil plan. They catch up to the soldiers. Then Yusuke and Yuka inform them that Cavale and his soldiers died in that previous dungeon. That Yusuke is converted to the same religion as the heretics. He tells them that all heroes are immortal. If Kamilto does not hand over the 3 heretics, then he will use his immortality to spread the heretic religion all over the world. Kamilto and the soldiers are worried now, so they plan to trap Yusuke and Yuka where their immortality will be useless. Just then, Yuka comes and says that she does not get along with Yusuke and will show them where he sleeps. Kamilto and one soldier come with her while the 3rd dude stays back to guard the heretics. But they don't find anything, so they take Yuka hostage. When they return, they find Yusuke standing on the corpses of the heretics, and he just killed the heretics as revenge against Kamilto. This way, Kamilto won't be able to do his duty of publicly executing the heretics. He also steals the wagon. Turns out the corpses do not belong to the heretics. They're safe in the wagon that Yusuke and Yuka took with them. Now, Kamilto's kingdom won't blame Cavale's kingdom, but in order to make it realistic, they had to kill the soldier and burn his body with the other fake bodies. Yuka asks if it's worth killing one person to prevent war. Yusuke gives a simple answer, yes. On top of that, he says that this is probably just a virtual world and they just killed an NPC. Kamilto sends a report to his king, telling him of everything that happened. Suddenly, Cavale arrives and does the remaining work. By killing Kamilto and the other remaining soldier as revenge for the death of her loyal friend, she enjoys every bit of it. When the king gets the letter, he asks his best assassin to research ways in killing the immortal heroes. As they continue the journey, Yusuke allows Yuka to ride the horse, making Cavale a little disappointed. Only Yuka notices her disappointment and remembers how she kissed Yusuke, realizing that Cavale is in love with Yusuke, so Yuka tries to get them alone together, but it never works out. Meanwhile, Team A finds a merchant going to Rado Borbo, so they escort him for the rest of the way. Team B takes the heretics to a church of their religion, but the quest is not cleared. Thankfully, they prepared something else, just in case. When they deliver these items, the quest ends up being cleared. These items were the heads of the 3 enemy soldiers. They tell the soldiers of Rado Borbo about how Kamilto's kingdom has been treating the people of another religion. They still have 1 day left in their tasks as they still need to discover 5% of the area, so they go separate ways to cover as much area on the map as possible. They cover 4.96% with time to spare, but suddenly they're hit by a blizzard. Kavel thinks about how she tried to confess her feelings to Yusuke, but she just couldn't bring herself to do it. Instead, they say goodbye to each other as they both knew that they would not meet again. The four heroes continue walking despite the heavy blizzard and cover 4.98%. All the heroes think that this final part is too difficult, but none of them wants to give up. They reach 4.992%, but the blizzard gets so bad that none of them can move forward. They only have 6 hours left. Kasue even falls unconscious and Shindo discovers something that makes her very angry. Yusuke walks forward with difficulty, but a huge monster attacks him just then. After great difficulty, he manages to kill the monster. Suddenly, the monster babies come out and try to wake up their mother. Yusuke does not know how to help them. Saying that they're just virtual creatures and not real, he continues walking ahead. With 5 hours left, they have 4.993% discovered. The others are trapped in the snow and only Yusuke is walking. Suddenly, he falls into a pit and dies of fall damage. Yuka thinks about her childhood role models, 2 anime characters called the Magia sisters. She always wanted to spread hope and love to everyone, but she realizes that she has been living her life like a coward, and even now, in this world, she's being useless. Meanwhile, Yusuke lands in a dungeon with lesser cold, so he revives. But Kasue dies and cannot revive because her body is too low. Seeing this, Shindo walks forward until she sees a village. She goes toward it but ends up walking in a frozen lake. The ice breaks and she also dies. She won't be able to revive unless her body is pulled out of the water. As for Yusuke, he has run into a dead end in the dungeon, so he must retrace his steps. But everywhere he goes, only dead ends. They have 3 hours left. He finds an earthworm eating dirt, so he goes after it, even though its pace is so slow. But the earthworm comes around and eats him. Now only Yuka is alive. If she dies, then they will all die, permanently. Yuka loses all hope and sits down to die. But the Magia sisters appear in her vision and motivate her to never give up, just like they never did. She unleashes a giant fire magic for the first time ever. Seeing this, a woman riding a giant cat comes to her. She seems to know all about the 10 tasks, referring to Yuka as a player. Yuka says that they've covered 4.996%, but they only have 3 minutes left. So, the woman uses her powers to cover large distances with ease. Yuka asks her if she's a player as well, but she says no. With seconds left, Yuka gets a view of the ocean. They all survive, and the Game Master allows Yuka to ask one question. She asks if this world is real or just a virtual reality. The Game Master replies that they're in a parallel universe. Everything here, including the people, animals, and monsters, is all real. Yusuke suddenly thinks about the soldier he killed and realizes that he killed an actual human. They all go back to Tokyo, but the idea that he killed a human being haunts Yusuke every day. Yusuke was always bad at sports before, but now he's suddenly the best player in the team because of all his physical experience. By now, Kasue and Shindo also know what happened, but none of them have been able to talk to Yusuke normally. Yusuke goes into a depression and thinks about the time capsule that he buried with his friends. But it was destroyed when a new construction was made on it, that same ground where they buried it. One day, the Game Master sends him an email, asking him how it feels now that he's killed an actual human. Yusuke deletes the message. Suddenly, a strange girl appears in his room, saying that he should reply to her email. She's the Game Master. Yusuke says that killing someone was wrong and he should have not done that. Then the Game Master takes him out to meet the next player. She makes him wear a cap and takes him to a Chinese restaurant. She points to a man who was once a former drug dealer. In 20 seconds, the person meant to be the next player will enter and kill this man. Apparently, this person and his younger brother have been manipulated by the Yakuza to carry out hits like this. 3 men rush into the restaurant with baseball bats. Yusuke trips them, so the man hits him with a bat, so Yusuke kicks him and takes the bat. Then he uses the skills he's learned to beat up all the goons. He removes the mask of the person meant to be the 5th player, a 19-year-old named Keita. Yusuke stops Keita from killing the man, so Keita's boss comes in and points his gun at him. The Game Master arrives just then and gives him a glove. Yusuke wears it and uses his persuasion skill to say stop. The boss is unable to pull the trigger. Then Yusuke beats him up as well. He tells Keita to take his brother and run. The boss tries to shoot Yusuke in the back, but Keita stops him and runs away with his brother while the police arrive and take the boss away. Later, the Game Master asks Yusuke how it felt to prevent a murder, but Yusuke says that it means nothing. He just wanted to stop Keita from being arrested, as they need his motivations to be strong for the next quest. It was the same with Yuka. He says that he saved her from the bullies and she was the one who ended up completing the quest. He just thinks of who's valuable and who's not. He says that he does not care about humans and they all deserve to die. The Game Master asks who he thinks he is. Yusuke admits that he's wrong, that he knows he's wrong, but he still believes that he is right and the whole world is wrong because he admits that he has delusions of grandeur. He says that he believes in a certain type of justice, and he's always fought for it and he'll continue fighting for it. As for the future quests, it will be held in space, and they'll even get to meet their parallel versions. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.